September 2005. This is a period of time in my life that I'll never forget. While 6 months pregnant with my second daughter, Reagan, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that was causing severe hypertension and kidney failure. The doctors were skeptical that either my baby or I would make it through the remaining pregnancy alive. It's crazy, but as terrifying as that was, at that very moment, I felt a fire light inside of me. In my head, I replayed my life up to that point, and I knew I had to make a choice. Let this autoimmune disease rule the rest of my life, or live my life in spite of my disease. It was an easy choice. I was born to a single mother in the small rural town of Madison, North Carolina on February 24th, 1978, the last of 28 children. With no running water, a wood stove for heat, and an opossum for a pet, the only one in my family who realized that we were financially poor was my mother. She worked in textile factories and cleaned houses to keep food on the table for me and my 7 siblings who still lived in the house. My mother worked a lot, and although we went for years without a car or running water, we made do by walking to town to get what we needed, borrowing water from nearby neighbors, and cutting down trees for wood to heat the house. Though every day was a challenge for basic necessities, the abundance of love and good country fun ran rampant through our household. Life was adventurous. By the time I was in 3rd grade, my family had upgraded our living arrangements to the projects, where something like running water felt like a luxury item. Just like the day of my diagnosis, I always had a confidence and a fire inside that far outweighed the circumstances surrounding me. As with most college graduates, life became challenging upon entering the real world. I had an infant daughter, Madison, to care for, and was figuring out how to navigate life and all of its expenses on my own. However, I did land a high-level management position at Purdue Farms. I wasn't in love with my job. I knew something was missing: time, which took me away from being able to spend quality time with my daughter. This was not an option for me. I left the new position and I moved on to what I thought was my true calling: teaching. Teaching biology brought me so much joy. The pay did not. Neither did the requirements that the school put on me to teach to a test. It was during this time that I became pregnant with my second daughter and received the diagnosis of the autoimmune disease and kidney failure. This diagnosis would change the rest of my life. Now more than ever, time became my biggest asset, and none of it could be wasted. I didn't know how much time I actually had at all. The doctor informed me that there was a great chance that either my unborn child or I would not survive the pregnancy. And I was prepared to give my life for my unborn child to live. I had hoped that once I delivered my baby and my body was free of the stress of pregnancy, that my kidney function would return and my symptoms would resolve themselves. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. My kidney function continued to drop, first to 50%, then to 35%, and then to 27%. At that point, I was prescribed medications that are typically given to transplant recipients. These medications kept me stable for nearly 11 years. My kidney function has recently dropped to 18%, and I've again been placed on the kidney transplant list. As scary as my diagnosis was, it has been the catalyst that drove me to find the path that would allow me to start living life on my own terms. In 2012, I heard a radio ad for a real estate investing training event in my area. I attended, And it was at that event that my life started turning in the direction that I was happy with, where I felt in control of my time. I hadn't come this far to let my kidney failure take me before I was ready. And I was determined to do everything in my power to build a legacy and a future for my children and my family. While still teaching full-time, I made $50,000 on my first real estate flip. The interesting part was that in just 6 weeks, I had made the equivalent of an entire year's salary teaching. My future immediately opened up, and the legacy that I could leave behind for my children started to take shape. Once I began building something real, I knew that I had to start using tools that would make things easier for me. Realeflow has been that tool for me. I've built a business that is a true family affair with my daughters, mom, aunt, nieces, and nephews all contributing to the success of A-Team Marketing, A-Team Holdings, and Jody Buys Houses. It is truly such a blessing to be able to share wealth and entrepreneurial strategies with my family and create generational wealth. It's especially exciting to know that I'm leaving a legacy behind for my daughters, nieces, and nephews that will change their lives forever and will always remind them how hard their mother and aunt worked, even in the face of my autoimmune disease, kidney failure, and the likelihood of a shortened life. When I started on this journey, leaving a legacy quickly became very important to me. To me, legacy means the portion of you that remains even when you're no longer physically present. None of us know when our last day will be, but I do know that mine is likely to come before I'm ready. My doctor wants me to start dialysis, and I have again been placed on the transplant list. I'm currently in stage 4 renal failure and in the fight of my life, but in actuality, I'm in a race against time to accomplish everything on my list before my time is up. Everything I do every single day is to leave a legacy behind for my family. And having a tool like Realeflow has really been invaluable to me. When you're literally running out of time, having something that saves time, so not a minute of it is wasted, is like a godsend. I've chosen not to start dialysis because it'll change my lifestyle and the way that I feel. Instead, I'm choosing to live my best life now, vibrantly and on purpose. Real estate investing gives me the freedom to live the rest of my life exactly how I want to. I have the freedom to spend my remaining time with my children. I have the freedom to build a legacy to leave behind. I have the freedom to live. I've chosen my legacy. What's yours? Realeflow, proudly supporting freedom chasers everywhere.